Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuque,
David Wynn.
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in any market. Guys and gals, today got a really great guest. And David, who do we have here today, brother?
We got a special lady today. Her name is Tanya Endicott. Am I saying it right?
Endicott.
Endicott.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Tanya.
It's okay.
She's a 22-year vet in the business. She has a lot of knowledge and a lot of information that I think we can all learn from.
100%. 100%. Welcome to the show. We're super excited.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be on the D&D show.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't think anybody's called us the D&D show
Hey,
before.
it's
We might have to
catchy.
change it. It's a new name. It's the new name.
I love it.
I'm charging for that, by the way.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking.
John, grab my checkbook. Well, Tanya, you're absolutely fun to talk to. So I think this is going to be a really entertaining show. So guys, get ready. Hold on. She's a blast. But we know who you are, and we've been following your success. Our audience doesn't always know who we're bringing on the show. So we want to do that introduction. Talk a little bit about where you're from originally.
Sure. So grew up a Navy brat, born overseas in a place called Cyprus, not Cyprus, Texas. It's a little island in the Mediterranean.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, but very hard to get to. And came over to the States, moved around a lot. The most I ever lived anywhere was 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
So-
My mom was a teacher for Fort Riley in Kansas, so we saw a lot of kids that grew up in the Army.
Yeah.
And when I say a lot, it's because they were only there for a couple of years and they
Right.
moved on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing about that is social media has connected everything,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
So I'm able to keep some of the contacts that I've had from high
That's
school
awesome.
and all of those places. But anyway, got to Texas, gosh, in 2000.
Okay.
And
That's when I came here.
is it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
same here.
maybe it was
And we live in almost the same
1999,
place. It's kind of funny, right?
Yeah, that's
For,
right.
for me, it literally was 99, 2000 because I
Yeah.
moved here in 99. And the first day I stepped into Texas was 2000 because we got stuck in Oklahoma for 2 days. So I moved in 99, but got here in 2000.
Okay. So I think I beat you by 1 year. I think I did come in 99. And the
okay.
only reason I say that is because I started law school
Oh, wow.
and then got pregnant.
Yep.
I mean,
That'll happen.
yeah, and I know how it happens, right? I act like it's a surprise. But
That's a whole nother show. She knows how it happens.
Yeah,
I told you we were going to have fun today.
but anyway, so I just decided that I needed to take a look at my life and was law school really what I wanted to do
Yeah.
with an infant and decided no. So I got into real estate
Okay. Well, that's cool.
and haven't
That's really
looked
cool.
back. And
Yeah.
she's 22 now. So
Oh, that's awesome. So she grew up in the industry.
yes. Oh my goodness. She's had
Goats and
more,
mouses.
she's been to more closings than some agents have.
I love that. So is she in the business or is she
No.
stepped out? Okay.
No.
She said, this is too crazy for me.
She did. She's very artsy.
Love that.
So she went into makeup and did makeup school, and then COVID happened and
Yeah.
everything makeup shut down.
Yeah.
And so now she's still trying to figure out where she
You
is.
know what?
in
She's
life.
22. She's got plenty of time.
Oh gosh. I don't know. Boy, you blink and it's gone.
No, you're right. You're
I
right.
mean,
You're right. We're here for a short time. We gotta do what it takes while we're here.
I know,
And enjoy
and
that life.
as a mom, I really have to just say, okay, she's not me.
Yeah.
Because by 22, I owned a house, I had a child,
Yeah.
I was through college,
Yeah.
and you just have to take a step back. And I'm proud of her.
And you
She's
did that for her
good
too.
person.
You did that for her because you knew you had her there.
Yeah,
And you-
no,
you-
this
you had-
was
you had-
this was
but
my
pre-
27-year-old
before you
that I
magically
did
got
this.
pregnant.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
before I
Okay.
magically got pregnant.
Good stuff. So moved here in 99, got into real estate. Was it around
In
2000?
2000.
Right into, so you got me by a couple of years.
Yeah.
And where'd you start? What was the first?
Brokerage.
Yeah.
The first brokerage. Oh gosh, I think it was Remax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Big name.
It is
So
actually.
you know the name and
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
recognize it. Yep.
Yeah, but I was there for 2 months.
Lots of red, white, and blue.
Yeah, it wasn't back then, and it's a great company,
Yeah,
right? Like
it
there's
is.
nothing bad to say, but back then it really wasn't structured for new agents.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. It
Well, I
was
think that's the problem with a lot of agencies
yeah.
is they don't have great training, right?
No.
But at the end of the day, I think one thing we learned, and this was a really cool pro tip from Alex Perry, who was on a few weeks back. He said, if you enter the business with the wrong agency, and not just because of the agency itself, also the community that you're in, you've got to be networking with your people, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think what you're talking about is pretty smart because you said I was there for a short period of time, realized it wasn't for me, and I transitioned out. And that's what great agents do is they go, hey, where is my work family? What community am I serving? What's going to be the best fit for me to be able to do my best, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's okay to say, okay, time out.
Yeah.
Let's reconfigure what we're doing. And I knew enough to pass the test. That's what I knew when I got my real
I'm in
estate
the club.
license. I knew enough to pass my test. I'm like, woohoo! Now what?
And I think that's a question a lot of agents face. Let's talk about that, right?
Sure, yeah.
If I'm a new agent in the industry and I'm just getting started, how do I find that home and find that right, what's right for me, right?
Sure.
Get some tips on that?
So I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
It may not be right for everybody. And I was here, I knew nobody. So I had just moved to the area, I was in law school, and then I was pregnant, and then 9/11 happened, and like all of these
This well thought out master plan. Yeah.
right? Life happened.
Life
Isn't
happens.
that how we say it?
It is.
Just life happened.
That's right.
So I found myself pregnant, and my husband was from Honduras. And
Okay.
so he was here on a
So he knew everybody.
tourist visa. He was here on a tourist visa.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 happened and they shut down everything.
Yeah.
And he couldn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm pregnant. We were lucky enough that we had money and a little bit of money, not like thousands and thousands of
But you had
dollars.
something stored up.
So we
for
were
a rainy
able to
day.
buy a small house in the market, and so I entered the market like 3 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, sink or swim.
We're gonna make this work.
Yeah, the biggest thing is people try to hold on to their job, or they try to hold on to that income that they have coming in. And you can't do real estate part-time if you're going to be successful. You just can't do it.
To win big, you got to go all in.
You go all in.
And it
sink
might
or
be
swim.
scary, but you got to face that scary. You got to face that fear. And those are the people that have success, because when you go into it and hey, look, I could lose everything with this, right? Maybe this may not work out, but you know what? It's going to work out because I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. That's how scary it's got to be with great success.
It is. And it also has to do with your belief in yourself.
That's
too.
right.
Are you going to make it work or aren't you?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Mindset.
I did sink or swim, cut off everything I could have gone and gotten a job, right? And had insurance and done all these things.
All the things that most Americans do, right? Yeah. But you said, no, I got a plan, and I believe in this.
I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. I believe in myself, and it's going to happen. And so that's kind of what I did. The Remax wasn't right for me right out the gate.
Sure.
Just because they didn't have the training.
You need some preparation.
Yeah. Like literally, they handed me some VHS tapes.
VHS, for all you out there. This was video cassettes that went into a machine and it played on a video. Sorry, some of our crowd may not know what VHS means, right?
Yeah, they're like the cassette tapes that you put in your car, except you put them into a little machine that plugs into your TV.
It's wild. It's the wildest thing. And that's how we consume media and got trained at Remax back in 2001.
Apparently. Right? So anyway, and I was like, okay.
This isn't it.
Yeah. And then I ended up at Keller Williams, which had
we've heard great things.
Yeah, they had a great training program right out the gate. And I also, for me, decided that going on to a team was the right avenue for me.
Yeah.
And because I literally knew nobody in the area.
Right.
Okay. And so that's what I did. I went onto a team and I learned I learned
the
to
inside out.
model myself after another successful agent.
That's so smart.
Yeah, and she brought me up, and I still have a lot of great respect for her.
That's awesome.
And I was the top producer on her team.
That's amazing.
And I stayed there for about 2.5 years and then started my own team.
Yeah.
And,
Nice.
literally after I left, I started a corporation.
Right.
I pay myself.
That's
So I run things like a business.
A business. Yeah.
It's not oh, let's see if I can get a closing this year, right?
No, you've got a model, you've got a plan, it's structured right.
Yeah.
And you employ people now,
I do.
Yeah. Wow.
Great.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so say
what's that team?
2001 to now,
Yeah.
you've got a team. Go ahead, Dave.
What does that team look like?
Well, teams are very fluid. I'm not gonna lie. Like teams are very fluid. The agents come and agents go.
Yeah.
But for me, and every team is structured differently. So there's
True.
teams that give out leads, and
Right.
there's teams that don't give out leads.
Yeah.
There's teams that are, hey, if you have a closing, I'll help you with all the paperwork and this kind of stuff.
Right.
And you just owe me 25% like a referral fee.
Yep.
Right.
The way I structure my team is we're 50-50. I give out leads.
Yeah.
I provide the tools and I provide the marketing. And I also have, an ISA who, when we generate a lead, they call, they nurture, get
That's
it with
great.
a lender, all of those things, and then match it to the right buyer agent. And then I have a full-time person here too, who kind of keeps all the cogs going.
That's awesome.
Call on, like, if an agent shows a house, they don't leave feedback ever. And so she'll call and just say, hey, what'd your clients think about that house that you showed 2 days ago? Do you remember? And just all of those things.
They help coach them. They're helping
She's
coach.
literally my right hand.
That's awesome.
Okay. And so she helps with all of those things. And then we have a warehouse division or a wholesale division too, where we list wholesale type homes, investment opportunities too.
100%. Well, I think you said something that's, we want to go back real quick because we talked about the new agent and making sure that you do the right thing. And for you, and we've heard this a number of times, it was getting yourself set up with an agency that provided training.
Yes.
But in addition to providing training, getting set up with a mentor.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody that can take you onto the team. And even if you've got to maybe cut in some of the commission, temporarily while you're learning that process, you're coming into their team and you're learning from the inside out and they're mentoring you to become successful. Right.
Yeah. And, so it's that concept of there's always that next deal that's going to come on the horizon, right? And people are, I'm about to have money.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it's going to come, and then you reach back out to them. Oh well, it didn't happen now, but it's going to come.
Yeah,
and it's that idea of, hey, 100% of zero is still zero.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's interesting how many people just don't get that concept.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on something. So I know you mentioned that you get leads, but you've created a successful team, and at the end of the day, how does that happen, right? How do you become a successful agent, right? Obviously, you get the mentorship and you step out at some point in time. How do you build the database to be able to say, I know that I can predict my income to some degree, right?
And that's huge too, because real estate, very much when you get in the business, is very roller coaster.
That's right.
And so, and that's what a lot of people have a fear of, right?
100%.
Is that, hey, I'm not going to have any money in that downtime.
Right.
And so it becomes you're held captive by your fear, right?
Yeah.
And so it is about making the waves smaller, because there's always going to be waves.
Yeah.
We're in real estate.
Yep.
There's always going to be those waves. And so you prepare for them.
Yeah.
And you put money in the bank. And you're a good money manager.
We're actually, we do an agent click and learn class every Tuesday. And this is for agents, right? It's for top tier and new agents that are looking for different ways to find success. And we pair it up and have it coached by other agents across the country that are actually, having successes, right? One was on AA. The one that actually hosts this week is really interesting because it's about what you're talking about. It's about how to make sure that you can predict what kind of income that you need and create a plan that's centered around that. And that plan is not only what activity you have to do to reach those goals, but it also talks about what do you need to be putting back to be able to make sure that you have that financial security.
Right.
And the last part about it is how do you set forth a financial plan that if you wanted to retire in 10 years, you can. Right. So what you're talking about is exactly that.
Yeah.
You're coaching the people on your team to understand how to make sure that you're doing the activities that are going to create the money. But once the money comes, how to not spend all that money so that when you do have those months where things aren't as lucrative, you're not in fear.
Or you're very strategic about it. So I've always been very strategic about my real estate business, and I come at that for my sellers, for my buyers, and I think that's what makes me who I am.
Absolutely.
Right? Is I'm super strategic about things. When we're a seller, we do X, we do Y, we do Z. This is what leads to
results.
Yeah, exactly. When you're a buyer, we do this, we do this, we do this. You get pre-approved. You do all of these things.
That's right.
And that's what leads to your dream home, right? And so you have to be strategic.
Clear path to home ownership.
Yeah, and it would be a disservice to me if I wasn't also strategic about my business and about my finances, right? I mean, okay, so I drive a Tesla, right? I drive the X. I love the X, right? And everybody says, well, why would you get that? That's so expensive. And I said, well, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Let's break it down, right? Because I was driving a Lexus before. I was spending $600 a month on gas.
That's right.
I said, so really, I went in with a mindset of this is how much my car payment will be and no more than this, right? And I said, so really, it's actually less expensive for me to drive my Tesla and we have free energy at night, right? So I charge it at night. Like it's less expensive for me to drive this car than for you to go buy your BMW or your Lexus and drive that.
Well, let's talk about
be strategic about it.
Let's talk about that strategy, right? Because we're talking about the strategy for how you're managing your money.
Sure.
But I bet there's some strategy in the way that you communicate with those borrowers. And I know you were talking a little bit about that. But when that borrower comes to you or your team, what kind of expectations can they have as to how you're going to get them prepared to be mortgage ready and prepared to find the perfect house, right? What's that process look like?
Well, the first thing I tell them is don't buy anything. Don't open credit lines. Don't
go buy a new car.
Nothing. You're gonna live on ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches until you close on this one. No,
don't put weird deposits in your bank account.
Right.
If you're going to put money in, talk to the lender first and make sure that it's not going to cause problems with your qualifications.
Exactly.
You're educating them.
Yes. And I think the big thing, right, is communication. Yeah. And so many people don't communicate in this day and age. They they expect you to be a mind reader and they expect you to be a mind reader and they don't communicate. Well, I didn't know that. Okay, well ask. Let's ask.
Well, I talk about this all the time with my team, and we talk about why it's so important to communicate with each other, even when it's stuff that's hard to communicate about, because the number one cause of marriages,
communication,
divorcing, is communication.
Wait, are you telling me communication is important?
Isn't that wild? It's the craziest thing, because like you said, we're not mind readers, and if we don't know what our partners are thinking, and that's not just our personal partners, but our business partners or the partners that we're working with,
then life partner,
that can change everything, and that's going to cause for a detrimental relationship. Yeah. And so you're communicating to your borrowers, you're giving them the insights so they can have that trust. That when they're working with Tanya, they're going to be well led.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get them with the lender and then we stay in communication with the lender. That's right. Because again, that is the most important thing.
100%. You need to know who you're representing.
Exactly.
You need to know what's happening with that borrower at all times.
Yes.
You know what cues you need to have.
Right.
And you've got to find a success partner.
Yeah. And it's about working as a team. So I will always tell you working with a team is going to make you more successful in the real estate market. Not just as an agent, but as a buyer or as a seller, because there's only so many things that one person can do.
100%.
And once you start getting into any kind of volume, you
Yeah.
can't be
There's no way.
that person for
There's no
every
way.
single thing that borrower or that seller needs.
Well, and that's why you need to have a team, but the team that you're working with on the origination side needs to have a team too.
100%.
But the communication's got to be there. And, that's one of the things we talk about all the time. So we follow a very specific process. We're coached, right? And on Tuesdays, one thing that we do, we communicate a lot, which you probably know because you work with David. But on Tuesdays, when we have a live deal in processing, the first thing that we do is we reach out to the borrowers every Tuesday and we give them an update. We let them know what's going on so they have a full understanding. We let them know if they're on time for a clearance, smooth and flawless closing, or if there's things that we need from them to make that happen. You know what our next call is? It's to the list side agent.
Yeah.
You know why we call the list side agent? Because normally the list side agent calling you and asking you what's
Right.
going on, and you're tracking down the lender, and now you become command center. So we call the list side agent, and we talk to the list side agent about what we're doing and making sure that they have a clear understanding of what's happening. Then we call you, and we tell you, hey, we just talked to the borrower, we talked to the list side agent, this is what's going on, so you know what's happening in the process. Then we call the title company, the insurance company, because we don't want you to have to do that. We want our agents to be out doing what they need to do and not having to be command center, right?
No, it's a novel idea that. And I mean, David, you remember when I started interviewing you, I asked very specific
100%.
questions
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that if we have a buyer and I send them to you,
You got to have that confidence.
well, that you have processes, that you've got good appraisers, because I can't tell you how many times
That's right.
you go to those that shall not be named and,
Those that have no names.
and those appraisers have come from 2 hours away and they have no idea what's going on in the local market. And
like me, you live out in Gunter, and I'm in Salina, so we're in a little more rural community. And if you've got an appraiser that's coming from Fort Worth, he has no idea what that market looks like, none whatsoever. So now he's comparing homes with the wrong comps,
right?
And you've got to take a look at that. And if you're not a great loan officer, you're just going, okay, this is the value.
Yeah.
But if you're great at what you do, you go, wait, this doesn't work. These comps don't match this house. Let's provide you some comps that do and make sure that we're working together.
Right.
But the smart part of that is just don't hire that appraiser.
Exactly.
Hire the guy that lives next door, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, just there's so many moving parts
100%.
and so many pieces that happen outside of a buyer or a seller's awareness, because we could talk about just as many things on the sales side too.
100%.
Right.
Well, David and I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
When the borrower comes to you and they come to us, there's probably 1,000-piece puzzle in front of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what we have to do, if we're good at what we do, is we have to make it look like a 10-piece child's puzzle.
Exactly.
So the borrower just goes, okay,
plug and play.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But what they don't know behind closed doors is you, David, your teams. Man, we're snapping all those pieces together to make it feel like a smooth and flawless
Absolutely.
process.
Yeah. And I don't ever involve the buyer or the seller in every single little. I mean, that's how you get overwhelmed.
That's right.
And have those meltdowns.
That's why you're an amazing realtor.
Realtor.
And that's why you have such great success, because you have a process and your borrowers respect that. And that's why they come back again and again.
And refer people. Like that's a huge compliment when I get a referral.
The biggest compliment, guys. The biggest compliment's getting a referral back to your agent partners.
Yes. 100%. Well, that tells me you love me. So
that's right. Well, David, I know you've always got some great questions, brother. Let's fire something off.
I got a couple. I kind of know already just from the short time that I've talked to Tanya. But what would you say your real estate superpower is?
Ooh.
Oh. Gosh, and
the thing that
I have
you
to
do
pick just one
that makes you crazy awesome.
Whatever.
The thing that I do that makes me crazy awesome. Well, I will tell you, I kill it in negotiations.
Love that.
I do, and part of that is because it's not about trying to be the most dominant agent in the transaction. It's about trying to make it a win-win for everybody who's involved.
No question.
And I think that a lot of newer agents come in with that, I'm going to roll you over. Well, you're not. I mean, I'm not afraid of you, number one.
I've been doing this for a while.
Right. You don't scare me. You can take off your horns. I know you got that hat on. But anyway, so but I think my strength lies in negotiations and figuring outside the box things that are still legal. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Still legal.
Yeah.
But there you can't fit every transaction in a box.
No,
And
no,
you
no,
have to have
no, you
that
can't.
critical thinking.
Yep.
And there are so many people out there who are like,
This isn't black and white.
wait, you can do that?
Yeah.
You can do that?
But that's experience, Tanya. That's experience that you're talking about. And let's talk about that, guys, because when you go back and you talk about pro tips, right? What Tanya's talking about is making sure that the agent that you have is not only well leading you, but when it gets time to negotiate that contract, they need to have a great reputation in this industry for somebody that knows how to negotiate, because that's what gets deals done, right? So if you really want your dream house, not the house you didn't want, you want your dream house, you need to go to Tanya, because she's going to be able to negotiate on your behalf and make sure that that loan or that deal gets done, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, and just case in point, we were talking about this, I don't know, the other day, right? Uh, all FHA loans are assumable.
That's right.
How
Yeah.
many people in the industry don't know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there's a lot of buyers with some cash out there, but they want that 2.8.
That's what I was going to say. You got to talk about the rate. Why would you want to do an assumable loan? Because the person that owns that house has a 299, 3.25, 3.5 interest rate.
Yeah.
And if you move forward on a loan that's currently an FHA, you can actually approach their bank and see, is this loan acceptable for assumption? Am I an acceptable for the assumption process? And maybe you get a big chunk of that loan at that 299, 325, and now you're only bringing the difference to closing, or you're taking out a small second over the top.
Yep.
And you own that home at a great rate. And in today's economy and environment where people are rate sensitive, this is a great thing to talk about, and having an agent that understands it
Exactly. And
is amazing.
and how many listings do you see with, hey, this is an FHA assumable home. Come and get this rate.
That's
Very few.
Very cool.
I haven't seen a single
Very
one.
Put it on the listing.
Exactly.
It's assumable at
Except
a
my own.
3.25.
Except my
right?
own. Except my own.
Well led, right? Well led, great at negotiations, and that's why you're having the great success. Well, one of the questions I always like to ask is, and we know a little bit about this because you got somewhere you got to be today.
Yep.
We'll have to wrap this up soon, but you've got a family. Talk about that, right? Talk about your family.
I do have a family, and some people say I have two families because I've got a 27-year-old son
Okay.
that put myself through college,
Yeah.
single mom, did that whole thing with him.
Awesome.
And then I have a 22-year-old daughter, which we kind of already talked about that story.
That's right.
And then I have a 7-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow.
7?
You hit that reset button.
You just shocked me.
Reset button. I have a 2-year-old at home, by the way, so, and I have a 22-year-old. So
Well,
I think, is this that other subject where we talk about how did that happen?
I
Whole other show?
yeah, that's the other show, David. We're not allowed to talk about that. I love it. So you've got a 7-year-old.
I do.
And what do you have going on today? You got something going on.
Oh, well, homecoming.
Yeah,
So there's
that's right.
homecoming and
Go
there's
Bobcats, right?
no.
No.
He's Gunner.
We're
Oh,
Tigers.
you're Gunner.
We're
Yeah, you're Tigers. You're like, dude.
Yes.
I'm thinking of
No,
Salina.
Salina's
Yeah,
Bobcats,
because I saw
yeah.
everybody with their homecoming stuff.
Yes.
On Starbucks this morning. So
Yes, I'm
a lot
sorry.
of orange and white.
Yes, you guys are orange. You
Yeah.
guys are orange.
Yeah,
We're blue.
Gunner is blue. Okay.
Blue,
Okay.
blue, black, and white.
I love the Tigers. I actually went to
Yeah.
Fort Hays State in Kansas. I was a
Oh,
Tiger.
yeah.
Yellow and black for us. But
Yeah, so I lived in Kansas City too, and
did you?
one of my hops, right?
Yeah. Bouncing
But
around.
and you know what? I mean, I love how Salina and Gunner support themselves. When Gunner just took it out of the park and made it to the end of the football stuff.
Yeah.
Salina was like, "Go Tigers!"
Yeah.
Right, and Gunner would be the same way with the Bobcats. So it's
that's right.
small town is fabulous. I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's why we moved out there because I mean we were
the
in
values,
Allen.
right? Small town values.
Yeah.
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 I love it. So the family's out there. You're going to homecoming
We're
today.
going homecoming.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't have your face painted.
I know. Well, I thought about it, but no. My daughter did.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
those temporary
Well, let me ask you
tattoos
this
everywhere.
question because you've got the
Sure.
3 kids at home. What do they think about mom?
Well, no, they're not 3 kids at home.
Well, yeah, not anymore.
No,
right? But
I
you
have
did.
1 kid at
But
home.
you did.
Yes.
What do they think about mom, right?
Oh, well, I like to think that they love me.
They do.
So
They do.
yeah.
You know they do.
Yeah.
And
I
they're
mean, my
proud of you.
27-year-old son still calls me So
That's awesome.
I
You've got a
like
pretty
to think I
special
did a
mom.
good job.
Yeah, we know you did a great job.
Oh, well,
We know you
thank
did a great
you.
job.
Thank you. I love family. Family
Yeah.
is all is
We always like
one
to
of-
bring it up. Well, it's our number one. It's our
yeah.
number one core value, right? For a reason.
You got to
Because
know your why.
yeah, that's right. And our number
Gotta
one
know
is
your
because of the families that we serve,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's super important. Our personal families,
Mhm.
right? And our work family,
Yeah.
right? That always comes first, right? Serving our families and communities, making sure that our personal families are taken care of and they're having success in their lives,
Right.
and making sure that the people that we surround ourselves with, our success partners,
Yes.
I think it's so important. So you're right. Family comes first. That's why I always like to bring it up, right? Because part of success is not just making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's how are you spending that money? Who are you spending that time with?
Right.
Right. What does that success really look like when you
Yeah.
make the money?
Absolutely.
What are you doing with it?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
And you've got a lot of special stuff going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, David, you look like you want to say something, man.
No, I think we got to wrap it up here
We
soon
do.
because
We
she
do.
has to go.
Yeah.
So,
I was about to hit her with the question, which is there anything we should have asked you today that we didn't cover?
Oh boy, yeah, I could talk forever.
We could too.
That's the problem.
well, we'll bring you
I
back.
told you she was
There you
fun.
go.
That's part 2, guys. Part
Part
2.
two, stay tuned.
TBC to
Yes,
be continued.
exactly.
I love it. I
We'll
love it.
talk about all that then.
100%. Well, so if the people out there want to find you, and we know that they do, what is the communities that you serve?
Yep.
Let's start with
Sure.
that.
Well, so we like to stay north of 635, and we actually
Okay.
go all the way to the Oklahoma border,
Very nice.
and
Very nice.
and we speak Spanish.
So north Dallas.
Yes.
north. Yeah.
Well, I mean, 635. So Plano, Allen, McKinney, those
That's
are
what counts.
definitely our stomping grounds.
Yeah, did you
Frisco.
just say you spoke Spanish also?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, yo hablo español.
I
Uh-huh.
love that.
I
That's
love
huge.
it.
Yeah. So David also has a Hispanic pre-approval specialist on his team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we understand the importance, especially here in the Texas
Mhm.
communities,
For sure.
of being bilingual. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a game changer.
It-
And we've also explored this on other podcasts. A lot of the times in this industry, that's a problem, not just because of people not speaking the language. The documentation is horrible.
Yeah.
Right. And we're working on that. There's a good platform for that. We're working on that with our application software,
fabulous.
which
That's
should
good
be
to
rolling
know.
out later probably later 2024,
Okay.
to where we have a very well written Hispanic online application system to make it simplified for them. Right.
Fabulous.
Because it doesn't exist. And people don't think about
Right.
that. It's so crazy. We're 2023 and it doesn't exist. Why?
Yeah.
Right. We've got a majority of the homeowners that are purchasing in America today. It's like 53% are Hispanic. We
Is
need to
it
make
that high?
it's that high. I was just on a
realize
conference
that.
yesterday,
Wow.
and they rolled out the statistic, and I was like, I had no idea. I
Wow.
had no idea. It's huge. So, anyways, so
All right.
when the communities in north, and north Dallas want to find you,
Yeah.
and the Hispanic borrowers out there
Mhm.
want to find you, how do they find your team?
Okay, well, the best way to do it is to call or text me or look for me on social media. So 469-450-2566. We'll say it in Spanish. 469-450-2566. Otra vez, one more time in English. 469-450-2566. You can also look me up on social media or go to our website, www.dallashometeam.com.
DallasHomeTeam.com, and you're going to be glad that you did. Not only are you going to be well led and have a bulldog negotiator, but you're going to have a lot of fun because Tanya, you're awesome.
Well,
You're
thank
absolutely
you.
awesome. So
Thank you.
boom, let's go.
Yeah, lady.
Well, we got to get you to that homecoming.
Yep.
So
All right.
we're going to go ahead and wrap it up today. But if you want to check us out, you can find us at realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. And we're on all your major listing platforms, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. There's like 20 or 30 of them out there. We're probably on it. But if you want to check out the video, and you probably should, come on over to YouTube. You can find us there at the Dubuque Team, and you're going to be glad you did. Please, give us some comments. We'd love to hear your feedback, and we absolutely love the subscribes and the 5-star reviews. Until the next time, we'll see you then.
See you guys.
Bye.